It's been a while since I've shot a video on the pinball machine here, so I figured I'd show an update. I've been kind of busy with it, doing some things. Most recent changes are that I built up a matrix board for switches. It's a common thing that when you're working with a microprocessor or microcontroller, that you can end up with the pinball machine having too many switches on it to be able to handle for the amount of GPIO pins it has. So I built up a little matrix board. A lot of people, if you look on places, good place to look if you want to look up on the web for something about it. There's a fella, I can't remember his name. He goes by the Bald Engineer, and he's got some good tutorials on his site talking about how switch matrices work. And that's where I went and kind of looked at that. I looked at a few other places, but I kind of went with a little different variation. So I built a little circuit board that has up to it holds 16 switch inputs on the board, and I built some little lines that run across that I can hook up and link together multiple boards. That way I can expand my switch matrix by 16 each time. I just built up one to test it and make sure it worked. It did. I've only got a couple switches hooked up to it right now. Actually, just one at the moment. One that's actually active. That was one of the things I worked on. I did a bunch of modifications on the wiring. I'll pull the camera out here in just a little bit and show what's inside on the inside of it. And I did some work with the plastic inserts for the lighting. That was a little time consuming on that. I had to figure out how to cut those inserts into the playfield. Most people use a CNC router, and that's a pretty expensive device. It takes up a lot of space too. I don't have, the $3,000 or $4,000 that it would take to get a CNC router, so I just took a regular old hand router essentially, and figured out how to cut out the templates, some templates that I could use. I took router bushings and played around finding out something that was close on the size that would work, and routed out some inside and outside templates. Essentially, basically, you cut it like with a lip underneath of it, so that it supports the plastic insert itself, and then it's like you have it, the one that cuts out the outline big enough for the insert to slip into, and then just that little lip there to keep it from pushing all the way through the board. And played around with that, got that going, and put some lights in and tested it out with that switch matrix. I'm going to take the camera down here, and we're going to take a look at at what I've got here. So hang on, let me flip this around, and we'll get some lighting in here as I do this. Bear with me here as I position everything up. Oh, it's going to be kind of some terrible lighting here on this. I apologize for that in advance. But you can see the upper third up here, or lower third, where I put in some of the solenoids for the flippers and the slingshots, and you can see some of the lighting for different things. This goes under the slingshot. Still, I got to order some more things. I need some leaf switches. I've got the parts of the switch assembly, the little spring or little clip that goes up above the playfield. But it's only one of them right now. Do I have an actual switch wired in on? And I'm just working on trying to get some of the wiring down here in a logical manner. It's still a pretty big mess, but here's where I use the terminal blocks. I've got some fusing over here. I've got the cabling or the connectors for going up. Right now I'm just using a little Arduino Mega 2560. There's my little, you can barely, it's not very easy to see down there. There's my switch matrix board that I just can plug things into on demand. Here's a little FET driver board, MOSFET driver board for running a solenoid. You can see all that in there. Right now, the only thing I've got running a FET driver is for one of the slingshots and the ball return, which is, right now the ball return isn't rigged up at the moment. The slingshot is. Let's drop this down. So I'm going to drop this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this camera over here temporarily. I know this is pretty kind of here and there and all over the place as I do this, so hold on as I drop this down and playfield down in place. so that we can see what the general purpose lighting looks like here in just a second. I'll swing that out. I got to do a bunch of still reorganization on this stuff, but okay. And again, all I really have at this point in time, I'll drop this down, is just the, you know, like I said, the lower third on this. So what I'm going to do is, the only thing I got is I can power it up, and you can see right now, let me turn this other lighting off over here, and you can see, you know, where there's a little bit of lighting down there showing up through there. If I flip the lights off, you know, you can kind of see a little bit what's going on with that a bit. I've got just the lights activated. The one that uses, here's some general purpose lighting. As I hit a little switch, I can get these things to kind of, you know, change colors and cycle around. So you can see on that. If we go in here, I don't have, that's actually, there we go, bam, there you can hear that. You know, basically that's one of them that's operating off my FET driver there. I just come in, and the advantage to that was it lets me take off before I'm, for the other ones, I'm using basically the switches to run the high amperage current directly to the solenoid like they do in some of the older machines. And I'm bypassing that, getting around that now by using a FET driver, where I can just do a low amperage signal, you know, low current signal going up through the switch back to the microprocessor. Anyway, that's kind of where it's at here with all of this. A lot of work, you know, since November, you know, just getting those lights in there. You can see where I, you know, put those below the surface. This is where I came in and routed out the pattern and kind of put that, embedded those down in. They're not perfect, but they're good enough, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to spend a huge amount on a CNC router, so I'll just go through the brutal parts of doing this the hard way. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'll continue to work on this. I may have to, in the springtime, put this project to sleep for a little bit, because that's usually what happens is I get so busy in the landscaping in the yard that I have to transition to other projects. But I come back to it in the fall time generally, and I might find some time to work on it. Anyway, if I get a chance to make any further updates, I'll update another video on this. Otherwise, I'll be updating videos with other things that I'm working on. So hopefully there was something interesting in that particular video. I'll shoot some more stuff videos later.